Once the paper is thoroughly dry again, I'm going to mask the snow on the distant creek bank. I'll mask around the tree branches and around the exposed rock shapes. Then once that's dry, I'll wet the background tree area with a water-loaded brush. Actually, I'll wet everything from the distant portion of the creek upward. With a mix of burnt sienna and ultramarine, I'll work in the rock colors. I'll vary the mix of burnt sienna and ultramarine so that I do not get a uniform brown. I want some variance. These complementary colors often make great rock colors. Since mixed, they blend into a gray. Then I'll work some cobalt blue into the distant portion of the creek. And I'll taper into the lower creek portion. As it dries, I'll work in some streaks of cobalt blue. Next, while the background is still wet, I'll begin pulling up some crude tree shapes. These are vertical brush strokes intended to signify distant tree trunks. I'll make them a bit greener on the left side. These are meant to be crude shapes. I'll add some rose to the cobalt blue on the right side. Some of their edges will blend into the wet underlying paints. As the paper slowly dries, the newer shapes blend less and become more defined. I'll add some more dark values of brown and blue to the drying rocks. And I'll pull some more distant tree trunks. Then I'll add some salt to promote texture in the rocks. Just as the paper begins to lose its sheen of wetness, I'll scrape in some vertical tree trunk shapes with a palette knife. If the paper is still too wet, these shapes will not hold. If the paper is too dry, these shapes will not take. There's a narrow window to apply these, between the paper being too dry and too wet.